We're live now.
Oh, great. So, yeah, again, I don't like looking at spreadsheets, so I need a fucking standing desk so I can do this salsa while I look at fucking worksheets and try to do VLOOKUP. Oh, my God.
Look at him using the right terminology and all that. Yeah, I hadn't heard much from you in terms of help. I guess you must be stumbling through figuring it out on your own, which I knew you were capable of, which is why I was like, I'm not helping him. He'll figure it the fuck out.
I like that, like not even backhanded compliment. Just like
Just straight up from the top rope. Well, it's the Luke Farley podcast. We're the Football Yanks. Very special guest today.
Yeah.
We got to hear Luke's thoughts on the last 2 months of soccer. It's a very special episode. We're recording on a Saturday ahead of the Euro final. So, Luke, how do you feel about how the EPL season wrapped up and every round of the Euros and Copa America? Let's hear it.
wow, every round. Do I like I remember every single one?
Let's hear your expert analysis. I'm sure, like, with as busy as you've managed to catch all of the fixtures.
There has been a surprising amount of time in a hotel room watching the Euros. I have. Okay. I interrupted a barrel pick down in Bardstown for the Netherlands-England game. Luckily, my boss is British, so I was like, I'm just gonna put this on. Nobody cares, right?
Yeah.
It was a nice little vibe.
You're just walking around with a tablet streaming the game.
No, there's a TV in the room.
A TV in the bar. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think it's all been good. I think I've given my thoughts at the end of the EPL season. I don't even remember the last time I did the podcast. Honestly, it's been. So
we don't
long.
either. Yeah, that makes three of us.
As a little backdrop here,
like
right?
where do we end off?
Yeah, I mean,
how the fuck should we know?
Yeah, this morning I went. I did this absurd thing where I checked in to see if Luke was going to be, was still available, odd time, whatever. And Luke's response was basically like, "What the fuck are you asking me about?"
Yeah. He was confused as to why we were confirming with him.
Ryan's response was spot on, which is, "Hey, just looking for a sign of life."
Looking for fact of life. Yeah. I have watched Luke's dog, but not seen Luke. Like, it's been wild, man. What have you been up to?
So yeah, my work is just really really amped up. As I've kind of gotten my feet under me, I've just packed in a couple months essentially, and I've been traveling a lot. So I was down in Bardstown early this week, going to North Carolina tomorrow morning. Then I'm going to Philadelphia, and then I'm going to Minnesota for a family trip. So it's just been like that, like back-to-back trips with 5 days in between.
Does your family listen to this podcast?
I tell them not to.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. That's good.
Interesting.
Because I was going to advise that you just stop hanging out with your family so much.
You did suggest that the other day, and I don't disagree. But I don't always have choices,
Yeah.
Sometimes I just have to do things.
Yeah, I know that. So Shannon would say that you always have a choice. She has a very binary. I understand where you're coming from, but yeah, she will just not do anything she doesn't want to do, and she's comfortable with that.
I'm a little bit more of that way of thinking. Yeah.
I
like to say life is full of choices, and so anything we subject ourselves to is kind of on us.
Yeah.
I totally disagree with you. Neither of you are married. Go fuck yourselves. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
He raises a good point.
No, but it's been mostly good things. Tess and I went to Rehoboth for a weekend to kind of get away. So that was kind of part of the whole thing. So it's not been all work. It's just work's really heavy, and we planned some vacations. So we're just kind of dealing with that. But I have been watching the Euros. I'm all in for England. I really want them to win, just for the just ironic quality of Gareth Southgate winning something.
How great would be 12 more months of Southgate AI reels on Instagram with him just talking shit to the entire world about
where his mouth is just blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That would be great. I just want him to be I told you so. I don't know.
Might be the only good thing that AI has done thus far.
I saw they found they found a mining source for fossil fuel alternatives, but outside of that, that's about the only thing. That and Southgate memes are probably about the only thing going.
The Euros have been interesting. It's been like, especially because the Copa America has been going on at the same time. It's like it seems so like mundane and kind of boring in this weird way. There's not really a great team in the Euros, I don't think, this round.
You don't think Spain has been great?
I think they've been good, but I don't think they're at the level of like the high-level French teams or the Spanish teams of years past when Iniesta, Xavi were on those teams. There's no team that like reaches that level of play. I think it's a lot of relatively conservative football with some really attacking moments. Don't get me wrong. Like Lamine Yamal's goal the other day is absolutely phenomenal, and his rise as a 16-year-old, soon to be 17-year-old. I think today. So happy birthday, G! Hope you get those braces off soon. Maybe you'll get a girlfriend.
Dude, it's so weird watching like probably the player of the tournament giving press conferences with braces on. Fucking crazy, man.
I think it's interesting watching England because England, like Gareth Southgate, is like the mirror opposite of Greg Berhalter, where like, but Southgate just has way better players. Like Southgate,
I would say their press conferences are pretty similar,
possibly, but like Southgate just plays the most boring football possible and doesn't even try to go near that space, and Greg Berhalter's just jerking off to tiki taka constantly. Now R.I.P. Greg, thank God, but
Yeah. You're covering a lot of ground that we should probably approach in like a more granular.
Well, you asked me about everything I've been thinking about.
Yeah, I've been up
like
to
it
this.
when we just kind of ad lib.
I've been up to this weekend.
These meetings. I don't.
Or we could change the format. I could just sit here and you guys can ask me questions.
We said it's the Luke Farley podcast. This is the Luke Farley special. Fuck the Euro final. Like Luke's back.
I think to your point, Luke, do you think at a high level, as you look at the Euros and if the Copa is what it is, but did some of the misfires, whether it's the refs and VAR or tactical decisions and the conservative play, did some of those things cumulatively detract from this Euros cycle and make it a little bit more boring than what it's been in the past?
I don't think it has to. I think it has more to do with the players are fucking like exhausted. You watch some of those teams, particularly England. I think that this is one of the biggest issues with that England team is you look at the best players up and down the field, Kane, Bellingham, maybe Rice. Like how many games have they all played? Particularly Bellingham, I think, has shown how tired he is. And I think that's true across the competition. That's why you see some teams like Slovakia. Who is the other one? I'll remember in a second. But some of the smaller teams, small country teams, are doing a little better because those players don't play as many games. So they're coming in a little fresher. They have a little bit more energy. I think that has a huge amount to do with it. I think that the refereeing has been not great, but not like Premier League level. It's been okay. VAR hasn't taken up that much time, even if some of the decisions haven't been great.
I feel like the reffing has been fine in the Euros. In Copa, we have a lot to talk about.
Oh my God!
Well, I guess I was thinking about like the Kukurea handball. To me, was fairly obvious, and also the just the fact that they think it's appropriate to have a ref that admitted to match fixing previously. Like, why would you?
No, so I read into this a lot, and that's not exactly what happened. You're talking about the guy who reffed the last England game. So the deal with that, without getting like too far into the weeds on this, it is did you hear about this, Luke, by the way?
I did, and I read a little bit into it. Ryan, I think go and tell us our huge listenership what's going on. But I think
inform the masses, please.
So this dude, I don't know his name. He's like a German referee. And while he was in his 20s, so like over 20 years ago, he was reffing in the German second tier, which he was like on this meteoric rise. He was considered a reffing prodigy. He's today considered one of the best refs in the world. Like we're not talking about Anthony Taylor here. Like, this is actually a good referee.
Who is, like, reffing some big games.
Yeah, that fucking clown is... I don't know how he has a job. But, and like, the fucking English announcers act like he's the like, God's gift to refereeing. But anyway, this dude had an issue with Jude Bellingham where he... reffed a match. It was whatever the like domestic cup is between Dortmund and the German domestic cup that year. I think when Bellingham was 18 and playing for Dortmund, it occurred between Dortmund and Bayern, and the deciding factor in that game was a goal. Or a PK, a penalty that was awarded to Bayern. And after the match, Bellingham was asked what he thought about that award, and Bellingham's response was that if you hire or if you put a ref who is a known match fixer in charge, then this is what you get. And so that was the drama around this game. In looking into what actually happened with this ref, he broke up a match fixing ring. So when he was in the German second division in his 20s, the like lead ref he was working with came to him and asked him to assist in fixing a match, and he reported it. And that launched an investigation into everyone associated with this guy. And in that investigation, they found a payment of, I think, 200 million euros or something that came from that ref to the ref who asked him to fix the match to him, and they suspended him for 6 months. He swears it was nothing, and they could not directly associate it with him fixing any matches, and that's like not a lot of money. Like,
well, it was like I think you said 200 million. It was like 200.
No, it was
euros.
200, not 200 million. 200
euros,
period. Yeah.
It was a very small benefit.
It was yeah. And like, it's the amount. It's like he could have been paying him back for something that he spotted him money for. You know, it could. But he swore it was nothing, and he was banned as a precautionary measure for 6 months, I think is what it was. And he actually demolished a huge match fixing ring as a result of him reporting this. And so Bellingham goes at this guy, and Bellingham was fined like £45,000 for what he said in the press conference. And I think the ref took, just to like take the heat off the situation, he took a voluntary 6-month leave of absence after what Bellingham said. But he probably doesn't love Jude Bellingham.
Well, that's really the issue with the placement of the referee, was the relationship with the player. They really shouldn't have had him in the game.
Correct. So I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I dug into this because of like all the drama around that, and I had not heard about this. I don't follow the German division that closely, but like, this dude is like actually not a hero, but he's been pretty above board. And even like the fact that in the wake of Jude saying that he took a voluntary leave of absence that's just him like staying, you know, like rising above the noise. So yeah, I don't know. I
would say, knowing that, right? Fuck Jude in England. Like, he should match or ref the matches that he's assigned to. Like, and I don't think there should be necessarily qualitative assignments, right? It should be purely objective based. But that's where this all falls apart. Is I don't know, especially in the Premier League, right, in CONCACAF, like, it appears there's no objective measurement or system for performance, right? We've talked about that ad nauseum, and that's where it kind of falls apart. It's like they're just kind of picking people at a whim.
Yeah, well, I think that in the Copa America, like, those referees don't have any experience to ref games like that. That's kind of almost like a different issue, right? It's like there's just a huge level of incompetence in the selection of those referees, or there's not a good referee crop. I don't really know. In the situation with the Euros with Jude, I would be on the side of he shouldn't have refereed the match because of the conflict between the player and the ref, and you just don't want that boiling up. Like, what if he calls something off Jude that Jude doesn't like and runs up and screams into the guy's face? Is that a more aggressive act because of the history they have?
Yeah, just swap it. Have him ref the
100%.
Spain-France game, yeah.
So 100%. And I think in the Premier League they make those kinds of decisions all the time in terms of what, like, boyhood club this referee has or all those. They do make those decisions, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a nothing issue, especially since, like, that penalty call on Kane was pretty controversial. And
yeah, what do you think of that? Yeah, let's just keep talking about this England game, and then we'll...
Yeah, I think it was half of one, half of one, six of the other, whatever, half dozen of the other. Thought it was a foul, but maybe not a PK, but when you bring it to VAR, it's probably a PK.
Well, yeah, so that's the piece, right? To me, this is one of the clearest examples, or the clearest one I can think of, where something was interpreted so differently under VAR than it was live. Because I don't think, it seems like generally, myself included, when we watched it live, it was like, yeah, he was close to getting there and fouling him, but it wasn't foul. And then, you slow it down, you pick it apart, and now all of a sudden it's a PK, right?
Well, his studs are up, his leg is straight. Like,
yep. Yeah.
Right. He shouldn't have his leg in that position in the box, probably.
But watching it live, like, I don't think anyone would have had the confidence to call that, or very limited. It would it would have been very tough to call live for any ref or any observer, I think.
Well, I think Kane is smart in that situation. I think Kane knows he's been touched, and he knows that if he's down on the ground asking for it, VAR is going to look at it.
Sure.
Like,
yep.
You can say what you want about Kane on that level, but he kind of used the break of the game to his and his team's benefit, and good penalty too.
Do you think that? So, like, my issue with that statement is I've been, like, in talking with other people in my life who watch that game for, like, there's a lot of people in my orbit who hate soccer but watch soccer. Like,
I kind of feel that way personally.
And, yeah.
I don't know why that's surprising that there's more self-hating people in your orbit than just yourself, but
people saw this and they were like, Harry Kane's a bitch. Like, it was, like, kind of the sentiment. And I'm like, dude, like, those are, in most cases, unless I looked this up because I thought I was losing my mind, but in most cases, those are metal studs, right?
Oh yeah, he felt it. It hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, like, so I don't even, like, that looked really painful to me. Like, I don't think he was being even clever there. He got hurt in that.
I think he's being clever because he gets up, but I think it hurt. I just don't think he needs to roll around on the ground. I think he knows if he can cause a stop to the game, VAR is going to look at it.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that's part of the professional game now, and maybe that's not what he's doing, but I think he's a caliber of a player and a goal scorer that he'll probably know he can get away with that.
Because we've all been there, right? There's things that look worse than they are, and there's things that feel worse than they looked, right? And that's just part of the game, right? So he's going to do what he needs at Luke's point. Like, the player's going to do what he needs to get the call.
Yeah, that idea never entered my mind. Like, I saw the replay and I was like, "Oh fuck, yeah, he is hurt." Like that is a stinger that he just took.
Again, I think it's 6 of 1, half done is nothing.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter, right? Like, so the one question I have, like, out of the statements you made there is, you said that, like, I forget who the defender was that was playing that.
Dumfries.
Oh, it was Dumfries. That's right.
Who also makes a game-saving line save later. So.
Clearance. Yeah. He doesn't have a right to play that ball. Like, that's where I want. Like, he's not coming in aggressively. Like, he's trying to clear the ball.
I mean, it's the way the rules are written, and I mean, I'm kind of, as a defender, like, I don't particularly like that, but he could have kept his foot a couple inches away and not made contact and still contested the shot, I guess, is what you would say is the counter argument.
I don't think it was a shot. It was a 50-50 ball.
Oh, Harry Kane was taking a shot. He was trying to hit it with a side volley. He mishit it and basically hit through Dumfries' foot.
Yeah, but the ball is it's in the air, like it was bouncing, right? And
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it was there as a loose ball.
Yeah.
Right.
But if there's any place that you make contact with that player and your foot is straight and your cleats are showing, if you make contact with the player, that's the way the law is written. What I think he does is he needs to be a little bit more reactive, get more push off his back foot, and have his blocking foot farther ahead of the ball so he doesn't come into contact with the follow through. So he needs to look to block the shot or a shot instead of trying to win the 50-50.
So the side of his foot is facing the ball.
But a 50-50 ball in the box with Harry Kane, like one of the kind of most instinctive finishers in the world right now.
Yeah.
Like Harry Kane's going to be quick to the ball. Yeah, for sure. Like,
have you watched the Euros?
Well, in terms of his
before the Euros,
like Bayern Munich, he has 3 goals or 2 goals now.
Yeah.
Like
one of them's a penalty. But
you have plenty of good players.
But you're not gonna win that against Harry Kane. You don't try to win the 50-50 ball. You try to block the shot. That's what my advice to Dumfries would be. Not that
sure.
Okay.
Well, and that's an interesting point too, because Dumfries, when we talk about like tactics and some of the nuance here, right? Like Dumfries is more of a like a 3-back winger than a 4-back fullback, right? Kind of naturally, and where he excels, and so that's not how they were lined up in this one. And I think this is kind of how they lined up throughout, right? In the past, the Netherlands has actually played a lot more 3-back with kind of those wing backs. So yeah, maybe he was exposed in this sense. But then on the other hand, right, he's clearing balls off the line, right? So like he's kind of doing the things you want him to do out of that position, but
he made
not
up
an
for
instinctive defensive play.
Yeah, he made up for it.
I think it's a tough call. I could see it go either way. I was a little surprised that the penalty was given, but
it feels a little like re-refereeing the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I definitely think that.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those ones that, like, especially Luke has had heartburn over all season, where like the fact that you can slow it down and look at it 100 times, it plays with your mind. It makes you feel like you need to make that call.
Despite me thinking that it's probably a foul on VAR, I wish they never go to VAR. I wish it's just not a foul.
Yeah, I get why the Dutch were upset about it. I'm not sure they needed to smash up, quite as much as they did afterwards. But that's what happens.
Well, I got what I said. The entire Orange Army could suck my dick last week, and they got all of it.
I mean, they made it further than they were probably projected to, but they had I think they had an easier run in the knockout stage to get to the semis. But
yeah, shout out to Javi Simons for that incredible goal. One of the goals of the tournament, probably not the goal of the tournament for me, but one of them. That was to see like Lamine Yamal's goal the day before and then that one, like those are two just phenomenal goals in the tournament. So it's this, if you've listened to this point and like are wondering for whatever reason what the ending score was, England 2, Netherlands 1. Netherlands went up 1-0 with just a fantastic shot. Completely against the run of play for me. One of the notes I made about this match was that England, for the first time, looked like I have expected them to look in the first half. The first half, they dominated. Something had worked out between Bellingham, Kane, who I don't know what the fuck position he's trying to play, like fucking like defensive 9 or something.
He's defending a lot.
Dude, he's like in his own box. Like I don't know what the fuck that guy's doing.
You got to think that's coming from Southgate. Like, he's not just doing that.
Sure, yeah. He wouldn't play Mano until he.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. Hold on. Let's table Southgate, because I have a lot to say about Southgate. Like, a lot.
And
the British media. And, I can't fucking believe what I've heard, like, since that match. But, anyway, then Ollie Watkins just scores. Like, he gets subbed on, and in the what was it? The nine. I have the.
It was like the 87th minute, maybe.
Yeah, it was very close to full time.
What a touch! That first touch he makes, and then the finish, so good.
I'd love to see the like probability of that goal being scored when the ball is played to Watkins. Like
Ask
the
ChatGPT.
No,
Dude.
yeah, I thought watching it, you thinking, oh,
He
man,
was
like,
marked
he's gonna get
really
a shot
well.
off, but there's no way this is going in. And
Yeah.
it's in the back of the net, and you're like, holy shit.
that
It's
is
the
just
first touch.
brutal. Because
That first
yeah,
touch is
I
so
mean, the defender did everything you could ask, and then the ball was just placed between the keeper's fingertips and the corner.
good.
Like it was just not a 1 in a million, but like that really, like, that goal distills Ollie Watkins' season. Into
So good.
he just gets subbed on. He's had to sit there doing nothing for this whole tournament, and Southgate like throws him on the pitch. People are acting like it's Southgate's brilliance. I have no idea. Like, I think people have been screaming for Kane to come off. I guess, like, to that point, I would have expected Ivan Toney to come on. I don't know if Southgate saw something about that back line where he was like, Ollie's my guy. I don't know, but
I think he could stretch them. So the back four were tiring, and Ollie Watkins will run in behind, which is essentially what he did, just in the box. So he took advantage of a little tired legs. He's fast. He's physical. He can finish.
Starboy Cole Palmer with the assist on that one.
Good little ball in. Like, I actually thought the ball was really good in terms of penetrative, but it didn't put him in a position to score other than that incredible finish.
Yeah.
Despite being a Chelsea fan, Heather was nonplussed about Cole Palmer assisting the game-winning goal for the opponent in this one against the Dutch.
Fuck the Dutch.
Dude, it's hard.
And my opinion of the Orange Army stands after what they did after the game.
We need to get Ryan the clip of from Austin Powers on the Dutch. I need to clip that and get it over for a soundboard. Yeah. I mean, one thing I want to say about the substitution patterns of this one. I mean, we can talk more about England, but it was interesting that, to your point, Xavi Simons had that, had a great run of play, finishes it with a goal, and then Koeman decides to stick him out on the wing and just fuck over the entire formation. And part of that, I guess, is depth, right? But, like, you got to figure something else out. Like, Bergwijn could have gone out wide. I guess Depay got hurt, right? And that's why he came out, which kind of really hurt them in this one, because they could have moved him behind Weghorst. Yeah, I don't know. Just kind of a nonsensical pattern of shit then kind of ensued from Koeman in this one. So not the best coaching job, I would say, there either. But
I gotta go back and look at this. The announcers
the weird one was bringing on. The weird one wasn't bringing on Weghorst when Depay went off. I just didn't understand that. But sorry, Ryan.
Well, he was already.
No, Depay came on.
Yeah, you're
Memphis
right. They put
came
Veerman
on.
Yeah,
I didn't
exactly.
understand
Why
that.
not just bring Weghorst on? Yeah.
Sorry, Ryan.
The announcers were acting like Depay has been one of the players of the tournament, and I need to go back and look at how he's done game by game, but he has not been a standout for me.
He's been dangerous, and he's been more effective. Interestingly, I think when he plays behind or with Weghorst, but like his finishing is so bad that like this whole thing of just putting him up there as a striker didn't make sense to me from the get, and it didn't play out well for them.
Yeah, I just don't see what other people are seeing with him.
It's raw talent.
It's
like the João Felix thing, right? And then then it doesn't culminate all the time.
Yeah, I mean, you basically just said it, but like I feel like Netherlands have looked more dangerous when Weghorst was on versus Depay. I mean, if they're on the pitch together or whatever, but yeah.
Well, I think the idea is, and I think a lot of, and you've seen this with Ivan Toney a little bit, but what Weghorst gives Koeman from the bench is a way to change the game completely. And I think that in a tournament, you can't underestimate that.
Yeah.
Like a good team, like a championship winning team, will always have one really big
closers.
strategic shift that they can make to change the game.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he stays on the bench.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about Southgate. So, in the wake, I guess I get it. Like, I understand fandom.
You sure about that?
I think I do.
This guy, I mean, he stuck through Chelsea with some real troughs this season, where I was just like, can I get off this podcast and can I stop watching soccer?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I like listening to the revisionist history from the British media now that they're in another final. Like, they wanted this dude's head, and this match did nothing to dispel the fact that I think that Southgate is a fucking clown. And I don't know what would at this point. Like, his body of work is so to me, he is a guy who has taken the most talented squad in the world and made them look so pedestrian. And he clearly, like, to me, he doesn't seem to understand at all what's going wrong here. I guess he did tweak this system to pull both Bellingham and Foden in centrally, which was a huge issue coming into this match. I felt I've been calling that out every week, that they have no width because Foden just keeps cheating in centrally, and then Kane is just stepping all over them because of whatever he's being told to do or whatever his tendencies are, I guess. I don't know what's going on with Kane, but he's all over the place. And
yeah, and it gets him. So yeah, that tweak was made, and I think you and I talked about previously about the width, but then it leaves Shaw as like a stick figure out on the left, just kind of holding the ball up every once in a while, and that's probably not the best use of the talent on this team, and it's not what fans or anyone else is looking for.
yeah,
Well, the really hard thing about Foden has been because you have Kieran Trippier on the left side, and he does not want to go down the line.
Yep.
Foden coming in, instead of giving an alley for someone like Luke Shaw to run into, it just clogs up the midfield. Like, usually, you create that overload in the midfield and you switch the ball into either
Still
fullback.
Southgate's fault because he only brought one left-footed.
Right.
Was Ben Chilwell healthy for the Euros?
Yes.
Was he fit? So I would say that was probably a mistake, and I'm sure there's another player. So, and not because Ben Chilwell is like at the level. Like,
right.
I'm not really making an argument either way. It's just to have a left-footed left back. Yeah.
Yeah. Bring Lewis Hall. Bring
True.
Bring someone that is so that if Luke Shaw, Luke Shaw has struggled for fitness all season.
Yeah.
So bring another option.
Yeah, Joe Gomez hasn't played, right? Dean Henderson, Dean Henderson's backup keeper, but I mean Gomez.
Is Gomez left-footed?
I
think he's
Gomez,
right-footed.
No, I'm just saying that
right-footed,
he's
but doesn't
like,
offer
what's the
anything.
point of having him on the roster?
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Or Bowen, for that matter, at this point. I mean,
yeah, they put Bowen on once or twice, but that, and then he's talking about how he doesn't have Calvin Phillips. Well, fucking select Calvin Phillips. Like, if he's critical to your,
Mainu's been good.
I agree. But
after he figured out that he needed to play Manu.
yeah. I'm not. So, Luke, you haven't been around. I don't agree with his sentiment that the issue is that he doesn't have Calvin Phillips.
Oh, yeah.
But you select the fucking squad. If Calvin Phillips is so critical to your system, then bring him. It's not an excuse. Like, all of this is your own creation. You've created this scenario.
Yeah.
I think he's a fucking fraud. And it's going to be a crying shame if he wins a final. And I really I wanted England to win coming into this tournament, and Southgate has soured me so much on this team. Just grinded me into submission. And
You
like
come
now
around to where I was the beginning.
I'm rooting so hard for Spain in this, because like, if that fucking guy gets knighted and is the dude who it's just not. I should go through how many minutes have they led in this tournament? They've had the easiest run of anyone, and they've probably led in matches for like 10 minutes.
But he's
total.
not here to lead. He's here to win. That's all it matters.
Yes.
It's all, so get off
it's all
job.
part of the plan. He wants to go behind in every match, and then in dramatic fashion, like just how they drew it up. Jude Bellingham,
this tactical masterclass.
Jude Bellingham, fucking overhead kick in the 90th minute.
The results speak for themselves, Ryan.
Yeah, just how they had it on the whiteboard. Like, fuck this guy and fuck the British media for backpedaling so hard on this. Like, they coming into this match, they were ready to crucify him, and now they're talking about knighting him, and they're just falling all over themselves trying to back away from their previous statements.
I mean, these are the same people that voted for Brexit, so I'm just going to leave it there.
Yeah, I don't. Anyway, I'm so hot on the, like, I can't believe I have to turn on The Athletic and listen to like Southgate's legacy now, when like 6 days ago they were like, does he have it? Like, have we made a mistake? I don't know.
To be fair, The Athletic is American media.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's owned by the New York Times.
That is like less than a year old, and it's all the same people. That's not American media. By the way, the Athletic, like, I love The Athletic. I'm a paid. Apparently, I'm paying for it twice. I found out this week. Like,
it's
cool.
supposed to shift one of those subscriptions to me.
Well, I don't know.
I already have it.
It's supposed to be included in the New York Times now, which I'm also a subscriber.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Right.
But then, like, The
sort
Athletic went ahead and charged me for my annual fee, even though, like, in my account, it says that I'm a New York Times. I get The Athletic via my New York Times subscription. They then also charged me for my standalone Athletic subscription. Yeah. But, like, their podcast, in my opinion, has become hot garbage. That new host is bad.
Which one? A Camille Larry guy?
Yeah, he sucks.
I like him.
I do not. This week he kicked off one of his episodes and was like, he was like setting up to talk about this England-Netherlands game, and he was like, so yeah, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on England versus the England one. It was like how he set it up. It was like, dude, you don't know who England played? And then I sit there and watch. He does like what we do. Like, he sits there. He's like typing to people.
Well, I bet
like,
that. Yeah,
you could hear him like texting, like typing on his keyboard while he's supposed to be like talking with the guests on his podcast.
Our listeners are probably excited to hear our editorials on The Athletic moving forward as well.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know why I'm on this rant.
I'm not. I don't think that this is a good moment to disagree with you. So I'm sorry that you're so passionate about this.
I just like I'm like, I don't know, like I've always loved The Athletic, and I feel like the quality is just cratering lately.
I'll say this, right, to bring it back to reality. Part of the reason that like Ryan sold me on this concept, right, is because there always has been a dearth of any kind of good or quality or whatever the hell it is we're producing content.
I don't know that we're hitting it, boys.
Yeah, I don't know that we're filling the void.
I don't know that we're hitting the mark.
But I think The Athletic was part of the solution for a while. So maybe not anymore, which is unfortunate.
When they bought Tfue, I love Tfue also. What's the guy, Joe Devine, and I could probably, if you gave me a second, JJ Bull is a fucking genius. Like, that guy's tactical analysis, like, he literally has like coaching badges but then just does like tactical analysis on behalf of Tfue. So that acquisition was good, but like it felt like, I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but like Joe Devine like seemed to like wash his hands of the whole thing. Like, I guess he had like made his money and was kind of like burned out and tried to step away, and like all of it, all of it, like the quality kind of went down, and he started to come back, and it's getting better again. But yeah, anyway, let's talk about Spain.
Wait, no. I need to give you my thoughts about Southgate.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Why didn't you do that while I was talking about him?
He doesn't like butting in as much as I do.
I was letting you like burst your pimple or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Dude, you guys are fucking out of this world. Like, yeah, does he manage the best teams ever? No, he's a vibes coach. The vibes in that squad are incredible. And that's the theory of the game for him, is that if he can create a good culture, it doesn't really matter what he coaches them. They're good enough players to go do it themselves. And up until this point, they're in the final of the Euros, so everybody can go fuck themselves until they drop off in like the group stage or something, which has never happened with a Gareth Southgate team. It's happened with Sven-Göran Eriksson, happened with Roy Hodgson. Like, this team has not dropped out in the group stage, not once, with Southgate as manager. He's a vibes coach. He's there. Like, the greatest accomplishment of Gareth Southgate was to have someone like Ollie Watkins, who's been sitting on the bench the entire tournament, come in with enough attitude, with enough self-confidence, with enough like team spirit to make an impact like that. There's not that many coaches that can do that, managers who can do that. Do I want him managing Manchester United, Chelsea, Spurs, Arsenal? Fuck no!
I want him managing Man United.
Man, that might be fun. He should not be a club manager, right? But in terms of creating a good environment, he succeeded in that. And everybody can go fuck off his like little old British dick. Like,
he should take the helm at City after Pep steps away.
Yeah.
But in terms of but club management is not national team management. They are two totally separate monsters. You see that with Gregor Berhalter, who I'm sure we'll get to eventually.
Yeah, he was a genius at the club level.
Yeah.
Reinforcing Luke's point here.
Greg Berhalter?
I'm not sure what my point is. I'm not sure what the Greg Berhalter experiment proved.
Fair enough. Joachim Löw, right, at Germany, right, has never really had success or interest going into club football because he knows European international football is totally different, right? I don't think he would be a good manager at club level. So you got to give Southgate credit for creating an environment in which players feel they can succeed. At an international level, that's not that easy. So I give him props. He's not technically good, tactically good. I don't know what he's doing with Kane. I don't know. I don't think he's told Kane to do anything. I think he's just like, do what you want. Same thing with Bellingham. But I just think give it to him for the vibes.
No.
Give him to him for the vibes. He has gone to semifinal, quarterfinal, and 2 finals.
He has been his draws. Like I don't know. He's just had the easiest path and nearly squandered it
in this tournament
every time. Every tournament. In every tournament they've done.
I can't speak to every tournament they've done. I don't remember the draw in 2018 or whatever. So I'll do some homework, look that up, and give you my thoughts
they've
after.
always had such an easy path to the final in his tenure.
Let's go, Gareth Southgate!
Yeah, I'm Team Spain for this one. Let's talk about that match. Spain-France. It opened with an Mbappe assist to... Who was it? It was Moani, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing striker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful assist.
It was a great assist. Mbappe came into this one no mask. We got to talk about that. Luke, Derek has been on one about Mbappe.
Well, and then the mask comes off, so magically it's healed and it feels fine.
Derek, have you ever had your nose broken, Luke?
Not broken, but I've been right on the edge of breaking it. I've had full bloody nose. Go for X-rays, not bloody. Not broken.
Since I guess what was it, the second match of this tournament?
Did you play the next week, Luke, or did you sit out like Mbappe?
It wasn't broken, you fuck. You just said it wasn't broken. Derek has come onto this podcast week after week and basically called Mbappe a bitch for at first not playing and then for playing with a mask and not looking like I've had my nose caved in and you can't sleep.
I'm just saying the Argentinian account would have been out there.
A what?
The Argentinian accountant-looking dude would have been.
You think
out there.
Messi would have been out there with a broken? I mean, yeah, he would have with a mask, and he would have looked like a shell of himself.
Yeah, I think it's a little harsh to pass judgment on the dude. Like, he's playing like a sport at the highest level. Like, he's gonna get hit in the face a couple times. Like, I don't know.
He did
he
get
had to
whacked a couple times afterwards.
Yeah, he kept getting. It was like that Scott Sterling YouTube.
It's like, yeah.
I don't know. I think that he probably didn't train the next day, and I'm sure he wasn't quite as sharp as the other players, and they held him off in the second half of that game, right? He came on in the second half of the game. He missed starting, right?
I think he missed an entire game because they were winning, or they were tied. Sorry, they were tied, and they didn't need him in one of them. The group stage game.
Oh, you mean I think he sat out a whole. In this match, he was on from the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you should let up on him. That shit sucks.
Yeah, I can't imagine doing anything with a broken nose. Like when it happened to me, I think I laid in bed for a week.
Yeah, I think you guys are both right. Actually, Mbappe's a little bitch, so I don't.
I'm glad you told us.
Anyway, moving on from that, Yamal scores probably the goal of the tournament.
I would say so.
And
is so good in the game.
Dude, just incredible. I mean, he should have had an assist before this. I forget who.
Yeah,
who did he cross the ball to? I think it was Fabian Ruiz.
Yeah, it was Fabian Ruiz.
Yeah, he crossed the ball in, and Ruiz just skies it. But it was like inch perfect cross into the box. I guess he was already. I think he worked the ball into the box and then chipped it in. But same difference. Olmo, who has also looked like a world beater in this tournament.
Somewhat strangely.
Yeah. That first touch to score the second goal that Spain scored.
So good.
But it's a good example of, like, at the international level, the little tweaks you can make that have a big impact, right? So, because Olmo wasn't starting, I don't think, in any of the group stage matches, maybe one of them, but
until Pedri got hurt, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, I guess that's probably what precipitated him starting. But yeah, I mean, he's had a huge impact the last couple of games on the run of form for this team.
If you're that England back line, man, and you've sucked all tournament except for Gahey, like you've just
I'd
been
say the
fucking
back line has probably been the best part of the team, which is saying something.
Dude, I don't think they've looked so vulnerable. Like especially to the break, which Spain has been lethal
really
on.
Good. Well, the team is built for their wingers, right?
Yeah, like dude, I bet they're just waking up in cold sweats every fucking day leading up to the final.
If they have Walker actually played his position properly,
what position? It's just vibes, dude. That's the Southgate way. Positions are all relative. Like, yeah,
I'm making the argument for
it. Yeah.
He takes tactical notes from a different one of his.
He's playing striker. Kane's dropping back.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, they've overlapped several times.
I really hope England beats Spain. I'm gonna enjoy the next podcast if I ever make it on another one.
Yeah, who knows? See you in 2 months. We'll earmark this to talk about then. Yeah, I was wrong. I thought Rodri was suspended in this one. After we recorded the last podcast, I looked into it, and he had already picked up 2 yellows in the group stages. So he had his slate cleaned in the last game. Big story. I don't know if you guys saw this. I posted it in the Discord, which for some reason was a ghost town this week. And usually there's a little more engagement. But Murata, did you see what happened to him after this one?
No.
The cosmic
the fucking
injustice.
Oh my god.
For Murata. Murata is a guy he came to Chelsea and I was super disappointed in his performances for Chelsea. The good thing was we had Marina Granovskaya running football operations then, and she somehow got a larger fee than we paid for Murata to move him on. But he's a guy who he's never been there's always been, everybody's felt there's been this like high ceiling for Murata that just never really materialized. He's always been pretty good, and he's kind of having his moment now where he's led the line for Spain while they haven't been at their best. Like the tiki-taka golden generation was over, and Murata was just leading the line for Spain, and now they have a team now. This Spanish squad looks so good from front to back, and they make it to the final, and they're celebrating on the pitch, and some fucker runs onto the pitch to try to take a selfie with the team, presumably a fan of Spain. And as he's running on the pitch, security guards are chasing after him, and he nears the players. The security guards are chasing after him, and we'll circle back to a conversation earlier. These pitches are slick. They water the fuck out of these pitches, and that's why the players are wearing metal studs. Like you need that to stay glued to these pitches. And so the security guard is chasing after this clown, and he slips and falls into Murata's knee, and he is visibly in discomfort. Like, I would be shocked if he plays in this match. Like, it looked really bad. The coach after the match said, or the manager said that De La Fuente, I think is his name, he said that this is it is they're gonna have to monitor it. It doesn't look good, type thing. Like, just awful for Murata.
Terrible, yeah.
Yeah, I hope he's a go, but it's pretty rare that a knee injury like that doesn't require some time. Like, even if it's just sprained, he's not starting on Sunday. Just
that was
awful. Yeah.
I mean, I guess the latest is it looks like they think he's going to play and he's going to have an important role going with the coach. But
okay.
Maybe that has. I mean, we don't know until he shows up. I'll say it's interesting. I didn't realize that. It's interesting because I think Oyarzabal or whoever came in behind him to fill that spot sucks and has sucked all tournament.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've got Jose Lu and some other pieces that you can move around. Olmo can play as a false nine. But yeah, that's kind of that's going to be a miss for them.
I also don't think Murata. I already think Murata is playing through something. They've really managed his minutes. He's like, there was that one match where he just like sat down and was like, "Get me off the pitch."
Get me off the field.
So yeah, I feel really, really bad for the guy. Hopefully he's a go. Hopefully it's nothing. But to me, it looked bad, and
it did look bad from the camera angle.
Yeah, and he something needs to be done about this. I don't know what you do with to iron that out, but it's just, it feels like it's like, well, it's the fuck, it's social media, right? Like, people this has increased with people wanting to, I don't know who thinks that's cool. I don't know if I saw a friend run out onto a professional field, I would not be like, "That's dope, dude." I would not be.
I hope you had fun.
Yeah. Great work.
Messi's ass,
yeah. I don't understand this. I don't know what you do about it. Some people were blaming the security guard, but again, I think that's a misunderstanding of the conditions on the field. The field is slick. They water it like crazy.
Oh, it's not the security guard's fault.
No.
He's just trying to help him out, but it's just unfortunate.
Yeah. Spain, unlike England, has had a very difficult path, to make it to this point in the tournament, and has risen to every occasion and has looked up to the task in every match. Yamal likely to get, as things stand, unless he just collapses in this final, which is possible. He's 16, I guess 17 today. But likely to, it's hard to imagine him not taking both young player of the tournament and player of the tournament. He's just looked incredible, electric in every match.
Nico Williams on the other side has also looked
very
really
good.
Like I don't know how Nico Williams isn't at a massive club. He's at Sevilla, I think.
It's I mean, we could dig into that, but there's some like he has a very low release clause, but they're paying him like crazy. Like they're like, so Chelsea want him, Arsenal want him. There's some like, I don't completely understand Spanish football, but that club specifically has like some sort of huge preference to players that were developed in their local area, and Nico is one of them, and so they've paid him a lot of money. Like he's on like $300K a week or something like that. And
good.
Yeah. So like, it's like,
well, it's because they're not spending money to bring players in, right? So they're spending money to pay the players they've developed, which is kind of ideally what you want to do.
Yeah. So his release, and also because of all of those factors, he has a big connection with the club. So there's not like a lot of urgency for him to leave, and his brother plays there too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like weird externalities that are sort of keeping him there, and because his release fee is rumored to be $60 million, which like
for a player like that, nothing.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why he's sticking around. I think Olmo, like Man City fans are just clamoring for Olmo to come in. They're gonna dump a bunch of like their aging players on into Saudi. I guess Ederson has an agreement with Saudi. De Bruyne has an agreement with Saudi.
De Bruyne is gonna go to Saudi. I'm pretty disappointed by that for some reason.
What the fuck is that all about?
Money.
De Bruyne,
What do you mean?
Like, De Bruyne's been open about it. He said like, hey, I don't have that long of a career. Like, if somebody offers me that much money, I'm gonna go do it. City's
got plenty of money. They've got 10 balance sheets we know about and another 20 we don't. So
this is like maybe a whole episode of the podcast, but like people are exiting Man City, like leadership people are jumping ship from City. I think City's in trouble. I think they know they're in trouble. I think that's why they launched that weird lawsuit against the PL.
Yeah.
Like Chelsea just fired their the head of their youth development, or the two of them. I should know their name. They're absolute. It was like a stupid move by Chelsea. They were unhappy about the level of talent being developed at Cobham, and which is laughable because like Musiala came from there, Levi Colwill, Reece James, Tomori. Like the level coming out of the Chelsea academy it's world class. Like Musiala is a shout for a Ballon d'Or sometime in his career. And anyway, but Chelsea cleaned house and they hired Man City's like they pulled Man City's guy in, and Man United pulled one of the C-level executives over. And Pep is saying he's going to leave after this season. Like, I think they're in trouble. I don't know what's going to happen, but if you're that level of success and people are making parallel moves to get out of there, or like arguably downgrades in their career, if you're going to run Chelsea's, like you're at the best club in the world and you're going to run, like doing a parallel move to Chelsea. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's like a whole sidebar. But yeah, anyway, I think Spain is going to fucking skewer England.
Yeah.
You have a score prediction? You guys want? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, I think France it has to be disappointed in this. That was a very talented team. And for Spain to go in there and beat them, yeah, I think that has to give them a mental and conceptual edge over England. I hadn't thought too much about the score of this one. I think it might end similarly, like 2-1 Spain.
Yeah, I have all the same criticisms of Deschamps as I do Southgate. Like, what a weird move to not have. Like, Camavinga didn't start this, right?
Correct.
Yeah, like he was their best player the previous match. To me, to my mind.
Rabiot out there. Yeah.
Yeah, Deschamps has a World Cup and a Euros, or just a World
yeah,
Cup?
I know. Well, so this was a thought experiment I had last week, which is international soccer. The question I posed was, is it a bad product, basically? And I looked at like the number of goals scored in a PL match this season versus like what's been scored in the Euros per match, and I forget what the numbers were, but it like international soccer seems to reward ultra conservative coaching. Like you don't have a lot of time with these players, so you play a very conservative system, and you wait for your opponent to make a mistake, and then you capitalize on it. And my problem with that, like, I don't mind watching it because there's a lot of other drama around it, but like the American audience, they basically only watch international soccer. Like, they're being force-fed the Euros right now. They'll tune in for the World Cup. And I guess that's where this is disappointing, because like there's so much talent here available to France, and they just looked listless this whole tournament.
Get
out
rid
of
of
ideas.
PKs in international soccer.
What?
Get rid of PKs in international soccer.
You could do that.
Make people actually try and win a game.
Or get rid of extra time. I think getting rid of extra time would be maybe.
And going straight to P, I think that makes it worse.
Or sudden death, you mean? Or like.
Well, I think there's more will to try to win the game in the first half in particular. I think we're seeing a lot of really boring first halves. I think the game would slow down in like the 75th to 90th minute if there was no extra time, but extra time's a total waste at the moment. Unless you're England, but.
Yeah, well, I guess, we're talking about the same problem, right?
Yeah.
Which is like the conservatism and the extra time's a waste of it. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, if there's no penalties, does the game just go on forever?
Just go to sudden death.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
With no break in the 90th minute.
Do what hockey does. Yeah, just
I think that's interesting.
You add periods, and it's over when someone scores.
Yeah, I don't think that's a terrible idea. But again, like there's a reason for it. These are all these are essentially all-star teams, right? Who are coming together for 2 months out of the year to train. You really can't get a huge tactical like body of work within that time unless you have a setup in your country like Spain did, right, with the Xavi and Iniesta that pipelines all those players through the same kind of training practices. You see that happen in, again, smaller nations like Slovakia, who did pretty well this year because they're together a little bit more. They play together more because they're in domestic leagues together. Really, one of the only countries that isn't able to do that is the fucking United States. So, or at least like recently, it's just a totally different product. It's I don't think it's a bad product or a worse product. It's just different. The pressure per game is higher, the anxiety is a little higher, but the pace of the game is definitely not as fast.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot slower.
Well, so we're at an hour. Let's pivot to, like you just mentioned, the United States. So I'm going to take that opportunity.
That was a bridge!
Put
What would we do without you?
Let's talk about Greg. Greg is out. After the United States bomb out of the Copa America, they get grouped. Greg Berhalter finally gone. Luke is, if you're not watching the video, he's losing his mind.
Let's fucking go.
Visibly overjoyed by this.
Fucking worst coach.
Yeah, I like maybe the first words that we uttered on this podcast were "fuck Greg Berhalter." That's hyperbole. It looks like Derek's looking it up.
I wonder if I wrote a blog post about that.
Yeah, maybe. So this has been a long time coming. He's clearly not been up for it, and he's been sacked. I'm gonna throw this out there because I know how Derek feels about Lexi Lawless, but did you see the interview where he said that he's not sure how people can be so sure that Greg Berhalter is a bad coach, and that he thinks that in the right environment Greg could be on the level of Pep Guardiola.
I didn't see the Pep Guardiola bit. I saw some
he literally said that in the right environment, Greg, who knows, Greg could be as good as Pep Guardiola.
Do we have any contacts could get us the glue supplier for Lawless?
Can we invite Lawless on the podcast?
Yeah. I don't know. I think he's busy.
I think Greg
and
Berhalter
you wouldn't even come.
Oh, I would come to that. No, I think in context with the larger footballing world, from high school through college, I think Greg Berhalter probably is a good coach. But at this level, it's just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Some of the most naive decision making, poor coaching, and he didn't even get the vibes right. The vibes were always bad.
Yeah.
And that's bare minimum. And honestly, the vibes haven't been very good. If that's a check, haven't been good at the U.S. men's national team for a long time. The team is disjointed, and hopefully they can bring someone in who will, get it together. Jose Mourinho.
The word is that they reached out to Jurgen Klopp. Klopp said no.
Yeah, Klopp is done. I'm not.
Yeah,
Klopp's
but
not
at least that shows a level of ambition that I endorse. I don't know who the next on the list is, but that would have been the dream. I thought that there was a chance. I thought there was a chance that if you went to Klopp and you were like, look, we're entering the most important 2 years of our national program, probably ever. We don't know when we're going to get an opportunity like this again. And you will create a commercial presence around yourself. This will be so lucrative for you. And you'll only have to work 2 months out of the year, like you just said, Luke.
Yeah, I don't think he understands quite how easy it will be, even with the level of effort he wants to put into it.
Yeah.
It's so easy, Gareth Southgate can do it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he would be perfect. You want a vibesman? That dude,
yeah, he would bring it.
He would bring it. And
I would not be surprised if Gareth Southgate was the U.S. men's national team coach.
Dude, I'll go to Canada. I'm already 50-50 on that.
Podcast at that point.
With
what the fuck would anyone want with Canada?
I'm 50-50 on that with the next election, whether I need to start filling out applications.
Jesse Marsh has made it clear that we're not welcome, but
yeah.
Go anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesse Marsh is dropping bombs on U.S. men's national team.
Dude,
I don't ever want to work there.
It's brutal. It's brutal. But also,
I'm glad someone said that, though. At least Jesse Marsh. I'm glad Jesse Marsh said that. Because you need a reality check. And that needs to happen from the grassroots.
Sure, I agree with that sentiment, but also Jesse Marsh absolutely wants to work here. And Jesse Marsh is I'll add. This is a huge statement, but I'll die on this hill. Jesse Marsh is a worse coach than Greg Berhalter. He is
by what standard? I don't disagree with you. He got Canada to this quarterfinals.
Sure. He caught fire in a bottle, and that makes this statement look bad. He leads will never be the same again after his time at Leeds. They can't even get out of the championship now after what he did to that team.
He kept them up the 1 year he took over, and then it obviously didn't go well the next year.
Dude,
I'm not so convinced on the Jesse Marsh side. I don't know if I disagree with you or not, but
I think he's a terrible coach, and I think it's fun. I think it's fun that I hate it, right? Because I don't want to see Canada do better than us. I think it's a lot of fun that he took that job and then immediately, yeah. But I think that is complete coincidence. And if you look at his body of work, it is not good.
Yeah,
I'm
not convinced Canada is better than us at the moment. And I will say, having watched it, Canada did play well in the Copa. They played well against Argentina. I think for me, it was talent, not coaching. In that, he inherited an underrated squad, in my opinion. Whether it's talking about Alphonso Davies or some of the other players in there.
Who's their striker? What's it, Davis or whatever?
He plays in France, right?
Yeah, he plays.
This explains it. Jesse Marsh is from Racine, Wisconsin.
Jonathan David. He plays for
David, yeah. Can't believe I
Lille.
on that one. Yeah,
Chelsea are tapped to sign him, by the way.
I guess Chelsea not tapped to sign.
So his contract is like done, I think. Chelsea's been connected with him for like 2 years. He's from the U.S. Brooklyn, United States. Another fucking turncoat.
What the fuck would anyone want with Canada?
Send him back.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, they were eliminated in the semifinals, not the quarterfinals. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good tournament for them. But, I don't know. I'm stoked. Berhalter's gone. I really hope we show some ambition here. It's not going to be Marino. He just took the job at
Fenerbahce? No.
Galatasaray, right?
Yeah, no, Galatasaray's rival.
Oh, then Fenerbahce, yeah.
Fenerbahce, yeah. Yeah, Jose Mourinho would be I would love to have Jose Mourinho as US.
But how does that isn't that a weird fit for the international game, because he's going to want to actually install tactics and
I don't know. I think that Jose Mourinho might be a better international coach than he's a club coach at this point in his career, because he follows the thinking of high counterattack, high transition, defensive shape kind of tactics, right? Very 2006 or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, in hindsight, would have sticking with BJ when we had the opportunity been the better move?
Say again?
If we had stuck with BJ,
BJ.
Should we have stuck with BJ? Callaghan? When we chose to bring Greg back,
the vibes were good.
The vibes were good,
and that's all Luke cares about.
Right, made sense. I thought the player choice made sense.
Luke's here for the vibes.
The vibes are no good.
The vibes are no good. Maybe. I don't know. I think that BJ is it's kind of like you never know. Sort of the Jesse Marsh thing could apply here. We had a good run of games with BJ, but he's also a pretty inexperienced coach, and I think we should be showing more ambition with this program than that.
True. Yeah, I would agree with that.
If he had done well, it would have just delayed the inevitable, us getting to the point that we need to go out and get a world-class manager.
Well, and he just went to an MLS team, so he's going out to get that experience. So good for him. But he's not at the level. It's like how Greg Berhalter is not at the level. Jurgen Klopp wasn't at the fucking level. Not Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klinsmann wasn't at the fucking level.
Yeah.
It's just not. Yeah, there's not really any manager in the American coaching atmosphere who could take that job. I couldn't think of one.
Yeah, we need to be pulling in an international coach to this should be an attractive proposition right now because the World Cup will be hosted here.
Will you still move to Canada if we bring Poch in?
Dude, Poch. There's so much. I'm so Luke, when are we going to see you again, Luke? Because I have some questions about Poch too.
I play soccer with Luke every week, basically. I see him play more than I want to, actually.
There's been some interviews coming out about Poch and from the players in like Copa and the Euros, and like basically saying the guy was a maniac and a lot of the injuries were on him.
It's weird. I saw an interview with Cucurella just on The Athletic yesterday saying kind of the opposite of that. But I missed
Cucurella's interview.
I believe that. Like, I'm not.
Yeah, Caicedo sticks out to me where he said something like, with Brighton we were positioning ourselves to always have the ball and control the game. With Chelsea, we were like, Poch just had us running, run, and he'd have us running the day before matches. He'd have us sprinting in practice, in training, and he was he didn't seem upset that Poch was gone.
Well, I can see that a player might not like that. I don't know. Like, it just depends on the players. And Pochettino's not a one-season manager. You see the result of that in the second and third
In what world
season.
is it a good idea to grind your players to a pulp the practice before game day?
That's just what Pochettino does in the first seasons with his teams.
Tries to eviscerate the squad.
That's probably the correct training tactic back when England last won a World Cup, but not now.
It's basically like we've talked about this before. He looks for buy-in for the first year, and he looks to build into the second. And those injuries don't happen in the same way in the second season because the players are ready for it. And he tends to back off a little bit. He's basically like, I'm your daddy, run for me. Next year we'll like work on this.
I think that's just it. I think giving people injuries is
I don't think that's the right I don't think that's the right approach for Chelsea. And Caicedo can go fuck himself. He had a shitty season. He was bored.
What?
He was trying to put
He
it
had a
on someone
great
else.
season. Do
He
you
did
watch
not.
soccer?
Get the fuck out of here, Ryan. I know you love to suck all of those players' dicks. But
Caicedo.
You finished sixth.
What was Caicedo's average match
with
rating
$1
last
billion
season?
squad?
It was like a 7.5 last season.
Saying,
he was like their second best player.
The team underperformed by 20 miles. That's
what?
like, I don't like. It's like, when do you like stop blaming the manager? Like, it's just like, fuck it. Like,
I will say he started a little slow.
He didn't have a
downs,
preseason.
The second half of the
I'm not-
season, he was worth it at minimum. He was worth everything.
Yeah, he was like, depending on what stats you're looking at, he was the best holding mid in the PL, like better than Declan Rice.
he's definitely not the best holding mid. He's definitely not better than Declan Rice or Rodri for sure.
In the back half of last season, he looked it.
Sure, in the back half of a team that finished sixth with $1 billion in transfer fees. Like, I'm sorry.
In the back half, they would have placed third.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. The sixth place finish is all that fucking matters. Like
Your statement was that
that
Caicedo sucked last season.
The team
is
sucked.
what I'm taking issue with.
So the team underperformed. Everybody's looking for a fucking person to blame. Pochettino is an easy target, and those players were hurt way too much. That's on him. I'm just saying, like, get the fuck over it and fucking show it next year. Like, with a totally inexperienced manager, see how it goes. With
It's just
Shrewsbury
becoming
Hall.
more distorted.
Why did they sign Shrewsbury Hall, by the way?
I can explain that. I also want to, like...
Chelsea apologist!
We should stop this at the hour and a half mark. This is going to be a very long podcast. But Luke's here. It's a special guest. I also want to get your thoughts on Archie Gray, because I've been covering that, but you haven't been here to like weigh in on it. But I think that Dewsbury, I
don't know.
Anyway,
It's like some super British name.
So he is familiar with Maresca's system, and I think that this is, I don't know. So this is assigning a lot of tactical thought and planning to the directors of football that Chelsea have that I'm not sure they deserve. There was a post on Reddit that asked this morning what your club's biggest deadwood was, and I said Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart. Those are I think that's the technical director and director of football for Chelsea. This is my like assessment of this. Last season, Chelsea hired a new manager, and they clearly did not tactically understand what that manager expected of them for the first half of the season, and then they started putting it together. And so to attempt to not make that mistake, they've brought a piece in the middle of the pitch that understands that system and can hit the ground running from day one, and it costs next to nothing. So, like, if you think about it as, like, immediately raising the floor of what Chelsea can do next season, it's probably good business. I think he was £30 million, and they sent another player the other way for, like, £19 million. Mm-hmm. So, it, like, you can look at it on balance as, like, an £11 million signing. These numbers aren't exact, but they're directionally correct.
Do you think it's also covered for Conor Gallagher getting sold to?
I also think Gallagher will be sold. Yeah. I think that
kind of needs to happen now.
That was the this is happening now. Like him coming in, like the Gallagher's for sure.
Well, I don't think of Shrewsbury Hall as a better player than Conor Gallagher, so it has to be about the system and the manager, right?
Yeah, he's a different player. Well, it's obviously about he played for Maresca last season, so it is about the system. And Gallagher doesn't fit into that system. He's not that type of player. The big rumor is that he'll go to Atletico.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
So we'll see. What do you think about Archie Gray? How do you feel about that?
I think it's a good bit of business. I think it's a really expensive 18-year-old, but kind of in line with what Spurs' mostly traumatic and tragic transfer policy has been in the past. Mm-hmm. But I think he's a player with lots of good signs. I think he's going to fill in mostly at right back this season because Ange likes those players to go inside. So I think it's a smart sense. We need to get rid of Emerson Royale. So I think if that's the second position at right back, it's pretty good and shows good upside for the future. It's a very Tottenham kind of transfer. Young player, lots of upside.
Is it Pedro Porro? Is that your primary right back?
Yeah. Who's a lot more attacking than Archie Gray, with probably better service, but not as good inside, I'd say.
Are you more excited about him or Bergvall?
I think they're both future players. I don't think either of them is going to hit the ground running because they're so young and they played at a different level. I have a little bit more excitement about Bergvall because I know a little bit more about him because I've kind of watched highlights, read about him for 6 months now, however long it's been.
Yeah.
I think the way that Bergvall plays on the ball is just it's beautiful. I think there's lots of upside.
Yep.
But I think Archie Gray's potential in the Premier League is probably higher.
Yeah.
There's more the percentage points is more in line with Archie Gray succeeding.
So I didn't know this is not I knew of Bergvall because of Football Manager, and then I had watched footage of him because of that game. Archie Gray I knew about because he played really well against Chelsea and
kind of ran that game, right?
Yeah. He cooked against Chelsea, and he against Premier League opposition, he did not look out of place. He wasn't getting bodied off the ball. I think he's got the build for the league, and
I think some weight.
Yeah, I think that's I think it's a really good signing for you guys. And your midfield, you've got Sarr, Bergvall, and Gray, and that's so much upside. Those are some talented, highly thought about future prospects that you guys have. And then you've got Mikey Moore.
Yeah, Mikey Moore. Jamie Donnelly is also another good prospect coming out and plays kind of as a number 8. I don't think he'll necessarily make it in the Premier League or with Tottenham, but we need to sell some players now. Definitely in the midfield, Oliver Skipp needs to be sold. Definitely need to get rid of Emerson Royale. We need another attacking player probably.
Yeah, you weren't around when I mentioned this, or maybe I didn't mention it on the podcast at all, but I did a Tottenham save. I'd never, ever done a Tottenham save on Football Manager because I hate them. And I didn't want to be responsible for their success, even in a fictional universe. But I decided to play a Tottenham save, a brief one. And that team is in rough shape. If the scouts for that game are to be believed, I finally like kind of put together what you were saying. Like it is representative in the game that there's like about 11 first team players that are good, and if like anything happens to them, there's not a lot of good depth behind them. And then speaking to the recruitment policy to this point, there's not a lot hanging out in the academy aside from Mikey Moore, that at least according to that game, which they hire like professional scouts and stuff for this. And so
I disagree. I think that there is some talent in the academy and that's coming through, but no huge names that have any huge value at this time. No.
Yeah. So, but like the pivot to signing like an Archie Gray, a Bergvall, Sar. When did you guys pick Sar up? It must have been like 2 seasons ago, or was it?
I think we picked him up 2 seasons ago, and then he was on loan for a year.
Okay. Yeah. So like, I mean, that's like, those are good pieces to build around going forward, and you guys are you'll have money if
they choose to spend
they choose to spend it. Yeah.
We're probably one of the best situations for PSR going forward. It just depends if the hierarchy will use it. And I think we'll get one big attacking player, I would say. I think if we got one big attacking player, we might be okay for another season. We'll see.
Yeah.
And we need to sell.
Yeah. The last thing I'll throw out there for transfer news, keep it brief this week. I saw this morning that Amadou Onana is going to Aston Villa, which is interesting. So he's looked good in the Euros. He played for Belgium, right? Plays for Belgium, I think that's right.
Yes, he's Belgium international.
Yeah. So I think he had a pretty good Euros in spite of Belgium, and then Everton has sold him to Aston Villa for, it looks like, 50 million, finalizing £50 million exit deal. The interesting thing about this is this will right side Everton for their PSR issues for the season. They also they were in better shape. It's come out now that they were in better shape than people thought they were. And this will for sure put them on the right side of the issue. And so, what's his name? This takes effectively takes Man United out of the race for
Braithwaite.
Braithwaite. Yeah. So United's going to have to look elsewhere to sign defenders.
Well, they signed Johnny Evans on another 1-year contract.
What?
They did? I missed that. Yeah. Oh my God, dude, they're in rough shape. I don't know what they're going to do.
But they brought in some other player. I mean, maybe we should talk. Well, I don't know. We can start.
They just brought in Xerxes.
Yes, they brought in Xerxes, which is an okay signing, and apparently they're going to go after their next option is Lenny Yoro, who I talked about. I think he plays at Lille, and he's like an 18-year-old center back. But Real Madrid, he's like apparently target number 1 for Real Madrid. So that's a fucking fantasy if you think you're gonna pull if you're Man United and you think you're gonna pull a Real Madrid target. It's not happening. Move on to the next one.
See that.
Yeah, I think. We'll see. I think long time left after the Euros and after Copa America is over. That's when we'll see things happen.
Yeah,
particularly with British players. We're really not going to see too much more until then.
Yep. All right. I think that's pod. We'll table everything else for next week. Euro finals tomorrow. And so that'll be a topic of discussion next week. And join us on our Discord. That link is in the description for this episode. Please like, subscribe, leave reviews. All of that stuff helps us. Join our Discord. Luke's in there now. He got the Berhalter announcement 2 hours late because he wasn't actually reading the Discord.
Yeah, he's got his notification. He needs to turn his notifications on.
Yeah, but
I will not do that.
Will you be? You notify us you're AWOL like the next 2 to 6 months, right? Is that the latest?
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to. I've got a new mobile recording setup. I actually have it right here. This is the new mobile recording setup. Derek,
wow.
if you ever need that. So I'm test that out because Luke informed us that he's out for the next several months, or whatever he said. So yeah, Shannon's race is on Friday, so I'll be
Shit. Okay.
I'll be a fucking shell of myself on Sunday. But since Luke is unavailable, I'll be bringing the mobile setup.
I didn't say I wouldn't be available yet.
You said, listen. I want the listeners to know what we deal with just trying to schedule with Luke. He's like a local celebrity in Baltimore, so it is hard to get on his schedule. But he sent us a text last weekend and said, "I can't make it. Sorry, and I'm out for the next several weekends." Yet he's here now, and now he's saying that he might make it.
Never told us that he'd be out for the following weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. He said next several weekends, which I agree is like nebulous.
I'm definitely out next week, by the way.
Out next week or in?
Out, yeah. I won't
Out.
be there.
Okay. All right.
Unless we do it on Monday.
I'll send you a text the week after asking how you're tracking, and you can tell me to fuck off.
I'll make sure I do that.
All right. We'll catch you guys next week.
Bye. Everyone.
Peace.